Okay, so I'm making a longer video about issue we're having, and I'm basically doing it to vent, and I'm not naming the dealership right now because, well, one, I'm ticked at him, and I kind of got into it, no yelling or anything, but told him what I thought of a service guy, well, actually two, and then the service manager. Didn't yell at anybody, scream, yell profanity. I think one time I did say this is bullshit, so language, sorry. Um, but I never raised my voice. I just was kind of a jerk because I'm sick of this with this vehicle. So let me give you some backstory here. My wife had never had a brand new vehicle. So she went, and I think it was Mother's Day weekend. I get a call from her. She's at the dealership looking at a brand new Jeep. Now she had older Jeeps and hadn't been, gotten rid of them. So she wants this brand new Jeep. Oh, they're expensive, by the way. Like, even with trade-in and them knocking the sticker price down, the 2018 Jeep was, I think it was like 48 grand, and they knocked it down a bit. And it only got knocked down because that year they came out with a body style midway through the year, and it was the old body style. So we get this Jeep. She's super happy. She's got her Jeep. Cool. Four-door Wrangler, right? Not like a Liberty or anything. So she loves her Jeep. But we started having this weird electrical issue, right? And this electrical issue is you turn the car off, and we didn't put two and two together till later. I'll get there. And you hit the alarm, lock the doors, whatever. You go back to the vehicle later and try to start the car. All power comes on. You got juice to everything. Stereo's on, lights are on, everything. But you turn the ignition and nothing. No sound, no nothing. Couldn't get the Jeep started. It happened a few times. Once or twice, you turned it back off, let it sit for a little bit, and all of a sudden you could turn it back on. No problem. Not like the battery was dead. But a few of those times, it wouldn't do anything, and the only way we got it to start was by jumping it, either with another vehicle, or we had roadside assistance, I think two of the times, and the guy hooked up his roadside, charging battery. I can't remember what the systems are called. And one tested the battery, showed good, like everything's good. But the minute he hooked it up and hit charge, it started right up. Like, it didn't need to sit and charge. No issues after that. And so we kept taking it at the dealership. It was like 6 or 7 times, right? But like the first 5 or 6 times my wife took it, she got treated like the dumb girl who doesn't know anything about cars. Yeah, you can imagine how that flies with me, and less with her because she knows more than you think. I mean, yeah, not smart. So I finally got ticked because they were telling her it was all in her head. They couldn't reproduce it. They're imagining it. It's a bad battery, which we've tested, yada, yada, whatever. So then I said, I'll take it down there. Not a problem, honey. Now, my wife knows me well enough that she knows that's a-hole mode, She calls it chef mode. I go down there and lay into somebody about how many times I've had to take and it's cost me money each time for a diagnostic, right? Which is 200 something bucks. So I go down there, lay into somebody. Suddenly, magically, a tech finds that the issue is the factory stereo on this 2018 four-door Wrangler has something to do with the alarm system that when you do it, the car won't start back up. It's an electrical issue with the stereo. You know what their solution is? They tell us to go and get an aftermarket stereo and replace it. Do they offer to do anything? No. So it's our problem. That was 2021, by the way. 3 years of this crap, right? And it didn't happen all the time. It was intermittent enough that we were like, what the hell? When we find it out, we replace it with an aftermarket stereo. Never had the issue again. Never had a problem. Not once. It's now 2026. Now, she bought this Jeep new, so, miles were nothing on it. So now it's around 136,000 miles. Never had another issue with the Jeep, and then I'm driving it the other day, and an engine light comes on. I'm like, crap. So immediately take the car, and we just happen to be next to where my wife works. So we go in there, drop the car, we drive home. I have it taken to a mechanic that we know who's awesome. He's older than me, and this is all he's done his whole life. Dude is great with cars and getting them fixed. Like, awesome. Owns his own business, actually, his own auto shop. And he is so busy, he can't take days off, right? So he's fixed many a vehicle for me, and I've never had an issue again. So he starts digging into the Jeep when we tell him the issue, and he pulls the codes. And the code is, I believe, P0302. If you look it up on, I think, from 2012 to 2019 Wranglers, they have the Pennstar 3.6 liter V6, and it's in a lot of their vehicles. Pretty much most of their V6 that Chrysler makes, right? There is a known issue that was recalled on this thing with cylinder 2 and cylinder 4. I think it was a crack or something, or head gasket or whatever, but they would just replace the heads to fix the issue. So maybe it wasn't cracked cylinder. It might have been a head issue. So he tells me, after he's digging into this issue on the Jeep, he figures out, and he like compression test, checks fuel, checks spark, checks air, everything you're supposed to, right? Everything's good. So then he starts checking for mechanical failure and goes, this is this issue. And that's where he always stops, because he says, it's a warranty issue. I'm not going to touch it. You need to take this to an authorized service center and have it warranty fixed, because I'll just screw up your, what's going on with your vehicle. Now, granted, it's 136,000 miles already, but it's a known warranted issue that should be fixed, right? Okay, cool. He says, do me a favor, go down to the dealership. This was yesterday. Go down to the dealership and ask them on your VIN number to verify the warranty issue, because it should pop up. So I go down there. I mean, he's given me the proof. Ask the guy with the VIN. He says, no, there's no warranty issue on this Jeep. And I thought, wow, that's weird, because I saw the dates, and this should fall in those dates. 2018, right? Go back and tell, our mechanic that we love. And he goes, yeah, no, that doesn't sound right. He goes, dude, I've had like 8 of these recently that I've seen, and I always send them to the dealership. Okay, cool. So he goes even further and takes the head off, looking for a rocker that's, messed up, spring, something, nothing. And he's like, I am 100% certain, after testing valves the whole bit, that this is the issue. So what does he do? He writes up the bill for what he did, which I'm happy to pay. He spent time. He didn't charge me everything, though. Writes everything up and puts notes of everything, and then prints out the article from, I think, Chrysler on this issue, so that I have it, and says, take this to the dealership, right? So I get my neighbor who owns a towing company, Freeway Towing, by the way, out in Gilbert, Arizona. They're awesome. Oh, and our favorite mechanic, Aaron, with AJ's Auto Works. He's awesome. Go use him. Still not naming the dealership until we figure this out. So have it towed down. I'm getting towed. So I go down to the dealership, and I go in already ticked, because I have history with these guys. 3 years of them telling my wife she's crazy and me trying to get it fixed. Let's just say I went in. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just told him, you're fixing this and you're taking care of it. And I laid down the notes and the article and said, I had been here yesterday, and they told me this was not an issue with this Jeep. And we're literally looking at proof of the issue and reproduced, right? And the guy behind the service counter says, well, there's no warranty. You're going to have to go to the manufacturer for that. I said, wait, you're telling me to go to Jeep? Yeah. So you're not an authorized Jeep service center? And he looks at me for a minute. I said, are you not a Jeep dealership? And he says, you know what? I'm not going to help you anymore, because you're being sarcastic. Oh, man, you haven't seen sarcastic yet. Oh, no. I said, and no, that's not sarcasm. That's a true question. So are you not a Jeep dealership and Jeep service center? And he says, I'm not going to get into it with you. I said, okay, well, you're still getting a Jeep delivered here, and I already have set an appointment for 8:30 tomorrow morning for service. And the guy kind of looks at me and goes, you did? And I said, yeah, I set it up online yesterday. So I go, do you have a service manager, by the way? He goes, yes. I go, I'd like to speak to him. So I'm not going to lie, I went full Karen mode, but I had already tried with 2 other techs. And history from years back of them not fixing an issue that was proven to be an issue with factory components, right? So he didn't apparently like my attitude, and I don't like the way you treated my wife when she came here before. So the service manager comes out, and yeah, let's just say that didn't go well either. And he's trying to tell me I'm going to have to pay for it because it's not a warranty issue with Jeep. And I said, well, I'm literally holding the stuff that says it is. He says, well, your VIN number doesn't come back with that. I said, okay, that's cool. You go figure that out with Jeep. He says, well, Jeep's going to tell us no, and then you're going to have to pay for it. I said, we'll see about that. And he goes, well, there's a $230 diagnostic fee. I'm sure they'll cover that too. I said, but if you happen to do all this and find out that it's not the warranty issue, then I will pay for the diagnostic fee. I'm not going to have them service it. I'm going to take it back to Aaron because screw them. So, yeah. And then he says, when I bring up that the reason I'm kind of hot about this is the previous issues with electrical. And he says, you keep bringing up old things. I'm like, really, dude? So yes, you're based on my judgment of you is based on your previous service that was so terrible. Yeah. And I made a face when he said, that was in the past. And he goes, see, that's the face I'm talking about, the sarcasm. I said, no, that face was not sarcasm. That face was disbelief that you guys actually know what you're doing. He didn't like that. So I told him the Jeep's being delivered here. You guys can figure it out. And, We'll talk about it afterwards. I said, I'll be happy to pay for the diagnostic fee if you find out that's not the issue. It's going to be the issue. So I'm hoping that somebody at Jeep sees this and tells me why I'm having to deal with this at a Jeep authorized service center and a Jeep authorized dealership, and how I've dealt with this so many times, right? I don't deal with this with anybody else. I've had warranty issues with Volkswagen. I don't have it anymore. Car wreck. Missed that car. I just had a warranted FICM, FICM, fuel injection control module, on my diesel truck that replaced the FICM because it was bad. And the replacement was bad, and it was warranted immediately. No problem. That's a 2007 truck, by the way, just so you know. So, my guess is it a Jeep problem or is it a dealership problem? So, yeah, I'll probably make a follow-up video if the dealership decides not to handle this, and I'll probably go change my rating on that dealership, which was already low. So, if you'd like, and you could share this video or the short video that I'm going to put on Instagram and so on and so forth, I'd appreciate it, just because I'd like somebody at Jeep to see it. I'm not expecting to, get awarded any money or anything. I'd like my Jeep fixed the way it's supposed to be, from factory issues that somebody proved. Bleh. And what's funny? One of the comments that the service manager made was, he commented that, so you had it looked at by an unauthorized tech. And I want to look at him, and the dude's like obviously in his 30s, maybe late 30s. And I wanted to say, that dude is almost twice your age, been doing it his whole life, and knows more than you, has forgotten more than you know. But I didn't go there. I know, everybody's shocked. So anyway, if you could share this or the Instagram short video, I'd appreciate it, because it'd be funny to me if Jeep sees this and goes, hey, wait a minute. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.